Yeah, I guess I was expecting more blood. I'm glad that the head is already off of the animal.
I guess it's awfully dark. Like, well, just build a better bridge.
We basically could have called this episode
Squid Games, yes.
He's already come to terms with his mortality a little bit more than like a 20-something-year-old. Hello and welcome to this episode of I Should Have Known, the trivia game show that can't be trusted. Each week, one of our quizmasters will present you with 4 facts about a topic, but one of those facts is a lie. And we are celebrating Halloween by doing Stranger Than Fiction this month. So all of our episodes this month have elements of comparing real world to fiction and all of the weirdness of both. And today we have quite an unusual episode. Our quizmaster is Sups.
Hello.
And Sups is doing an episode on dangerous games. The structure is a little bit unusual, so instead of it being one lie, it's going to be 3 lies. Sups made it really difficult for himself this week. So he's going to present you with 4 dangerous games, and he's going to present them all as if they're real. But actually, only one of them is from real life. The other 3 are from fiction. So join me, Andi, and our other host, Tanner, in figuring out which one is stranger than fiction.
So here you have to twist your brain because here there are 3 fake ones and 1 true.
Great.
I didn't invent any of the games, but I've taken inspiration from fiction and then I've like slightly adjusted it, right?
In these kinds of episodes, we kind of have a bonus mini game of guessing what fictional source these come from.
Correct.
It's kind of an extra.
Yeah.
So we're kind of diving into some of the darker parts of fiction and human imagination, I suppose.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then also always knowing that one of these is real.
Yes. So what I can say outright is that there is blood and death involved. All right.
Okay.
So there's
Yeah.
something
Trigger
in all
warning.
of the.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's Halloween.
That's true. Yes. Before we get going, let's do our PQQ. Pop quiz question of the week. This, I guess, is the least creepy thing that you're going to hear from me.
Oh, great.
Okay. We're talking about sports, right? So here's like a sporty question. In the upcoming Paris Olympics 2024, how many sports disciplines will be there? Like actual number of sports. Because cycling, for example, has like many different types of cycling.
Oh.
Swimming has like types of swimming.
We did, trivia once. We talked about this and how disciplines and the actual individual sports are different. There were 10 at the original Olympics. So now I'm going to guess there's 19.
I say 30.
The answer is 32.
Ooh,
32.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And usually there were 28.
They added 4 more.
They added surfing, skateboarding, climbing, and breakdance.
Oh, wow. But none of those are creepy, though.
Creepy.
None of them are creepy. That's why I said this is like the least creepy question.
Yeah.
Now on to the main course.
On to the horror Olympics.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sport number 1.
All right.
Buzkashi.
Never heard of that one.
Buzkashi is the national sport of Afghanistan. So in this game, this combines elements of rugby and equestrian.
Okay.
Players are called chapandaz, okay? And they're carrying a headless calf or a goat.
Oh, God.
And they take it on their horse. So usually what they do, they dip the headless calf or the goat carcass in like water to increase its weight.
To make it heavier?
Oh, God.
Right? And they have to score some points. And these chapandas, like the players, they don't actually own the horses. The horses are actually owned by the rich, the landowners, like the rich people in the tribe.
So here's the Hunger Game element.
Yeah. These are just the jockeys. The horses are the real stars.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You humans. How dangerous is it, though? Like to the humans?
The humans can get injured, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody is kicking.
Punching each other.
Knock you off your horse.
The only rule is like keep the goat and cross the line.
Yeah.
That's why, a good chapandas is in his 40s. So he's training for most of his life to actually have this honor.
And he already lived a pretty solid amount of time. So like it's fine.
Yeah.
He's like fine with it,
I've lived a long life. I'm done.
He's already come to terms with his mortality a little bit more than like a 20-something-year-old.
Deadly game.
He's had time to live life, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow. So do you think that people really play this in the real world? Really riding around on horses and carrying a dead, headless this animal.
Oh man, this sounds brutal.
Yeah.
I guess my thing is like, well, what fiction is this from then?
Yeah.
And you know, like
Right.
other than like the Dothraki.
Yeah. Horse riders. Yeah.
What else?
It sounds very real, like gruesome,
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah, I guess I was expecting more blood. I'm glad that the head is already off of the animal. The creepy element there is that like they're using a carcass.
Yeah.
But like historically, like they couldn't make a rubber ball like we use today. So they're often used bladders of animals, like inflated bladders. Or a pigskin.
Yeah.
In football, like they're made of leather. They are technically carcasses. They're just not as explicitly carcasses.
Yeah. We've kind of removed all the recognizable parts of the animals.
But like it's still made from an animal, so it's not like that much of a stretch to me.
Yeah. I could see like some sci-fi writer being like, oh, you know what? We call them pigskins today. What if it's an actual animal in the future or like in my dystopian apocalyptic future?
I think this would come from fantasy if it comes from
like Dothraki,
like
horse
the
riders.
Dothraki. Yeah. So I guess
could be.
It's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Okay. The second sport, Anubismus.
Okay.
And so in this sport, which has mentions in ancient Egypt, there's basically sort of a labyrinth and there are wild animals who are in this labyrinth. Each participant is blindfolded and then they are released in this labyrinth from different corners.
Okay.
The goal of the game is to successfully exit this labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way of determining justice because they believed that an individual accused of crime was considered to be guilty until they proved their innocence.
Mm-hmm.
So these were like criminals, like cases that they couldn't decide.
Oh.
They were like, if they are true, they'll escape.
If the gods thought you were innocent, you could make it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a maze or labyrinth and they put blindfolded players in and then they release wild animals. And if you can make it out alive, you win.
You're not guilty, basically. Yes. Yeah.
So it's got some like gladiator elements there.
Kind of
where
like
it's like you're a potential criminal. And so we are going to make, trial by combat kind of idea. Yeah. It's an awful lot of work to build a whole maze.
Right.
And
if you wanted to just kill someone, you could do it easier. But if you were worried that
like,
maybe
do
they were
people watch
guilty,
this or like?
There are mentions of like people gathering to see this justice.
like the gladiators.
Yeah, like the gladiators. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Obviously, like the definition of sport is kind of changed.
You can't be a professional Anubismus player.
Yeah. No.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was like, it seems like a lot of work if it's real to have to like, you'd have to make new labyrinths because if the same guy gets accused multiple times, he just could memorize the route out of the labyrinth.
Unless they like build a new wall in the
That's
labyrinth.
what
You
I'm
could just
saying.
build one new wall and then you're like, oh,
He just runs straight into it. Don't full speed into the wall.
Surprise.
oh no.
I feel like it's too complex. It sounds fictional.
Yeah.
In the real world, it's literally like stand on this scale with this goose and like, oh, you're too heavy, you're dying. Like this is too complicated.
Yeah. It would save time and money and effort to just like let the animals go and see if you can outrun them. You know? Like,
and just blindfold
build
them.
a
You don't
maze?
need the maze as well. Like it's kind of like too many extra things. So it sounds fictional to me because it's too complicated.
Yeah.
Like, isn't there some book or movie like called The Maze Runner? Like, is it,
right.
isn't that literally
or
already
from the
a thing?
Mummy or the Book of the Dead or something?
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, are any extant labyrinths in Egypt that you can go see? Like, I've never heard of anything like that, which is, never a great argument, but like, I don't know. So I feel like that one, to me, it sounds much more fictional than the first one. The first one sounds very real in that argument where it's like, it's simply just keep this goat.
The rules are so simple.
Yeah.
When you think of games and sports, you need to think of like the gear, the prep time, the officials or like rules. And like this one, it takes construction and labor.
Yeah. It does have Colosseum vibes, but I don't know. It sounds a little too complicated to me.
Me too.
I'll have to hear more.
All right. So, sport number 3, duck fight.
Duck fight.
Duck fight?
Yes.
Okay.
So now we're taking a leap from the realm of human sports to a little bit of animal sport.
Okay.
Now we go to Cambodia. This has existed for more than 600 years, where ducks are raised specifically for fights. And the only way the match ends is when one of them dies.
Oh, okay.
So it's chicken fighting, but with ducks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Battle to the death.
Why ducks?
The Cambodian Hindus believe that the blood of the dead duck is used to scare away evil spirits. This is always played in the temple grounds.
Okay.
And then they say now the balance and the harmony is restored.
Mm-hmm.
So the owners do everything to prep the duck in top condition. It's treated as like a member of the family.
Mm.
Well, you can't love them too much. They're going to...
Yeah,
You
they're
know?
not going to
Yeah.
be around forever.
Exactly.
It's just until one duck is alive.
Yeah.
And that duck is the king of ducks. And what happens to that duck?
That duck is like treated as like royalty.
Yeah,
and
that's
all
the
the
king
other
of ducks.
Yeah, and all the other ducks, like I could take it home and cook and I eat it. Right.
okay.
Oh, that's
yeah,
good. They don't
yeah.
waste the duck.
So they just need the blood for the
Yeah.
temple. And
Blood
then,
is for the temple.
then the winner is like pardoned, like the turkey,
Like the turkey
at Thanksgiving. Okay.
Yeah.
You're the winner of all the ducks.
What the...
So it sounds to me like they wanted to cleanse their temple with duck blood, and they're like, I don't want to choose which duck to kill. Let's just have them fight. You know? Like,
It's literally cockfighting, but with ducks.
right. And they want them to die.
And my thing is like chicken fighting, I can understand because they have sharp claws
Right.
and they have sharp beaks.
Right.
But like,
And they're very territorial.
and they're very territorial
mean.
and they can't
Yeah.
really fly very well.
Right.
So like, that makes sense.
Right.
Roosters are mean.
Yeah.
Ducks are rapists, but I don't know how like mean they are. And like, I don't know, like with webbed feet, like how do they kill each other?
Doesn't make any sense. And why don't they just fly away? You know?
Yeah, ducks can fly really well.
Yes.
So I'm very skeptical of this in that sense.
Yeah.
That like, why are they ducks?
I'm less creeped out and more confused. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, it sounds pretty believable in terms of like how you get it set up. You just
Yeah.
grab a bunch of ducks.
Yeah, and like people make animals fight.
Yeah,
Like that's believable.
sure.
But ducks?
So many questions.
They just got their corkscrew penises
Yeah.
like
That's all
jousting
I
each
know
other.
about them.
That's like one of the only things I know about ducks. But then the other argument there is like we could say like we don't believe this is real, but like what fictional universe has ducks fighting each other?
Right.
Like what is that? Like literally where'd that come from?
Right.
If that's
it's not
real,
Yeah.
where'd it come from?
Right. Comic book
Is
or
there
something?
a comic where there are like I'm thinking Ninja Turtles but ducks?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have no clue.
This is like Donald Duck's nightmare or something.
Yeah.
Just like, oh no, I'm a gladiator for ducks.
Yeah, so it's definitely one of those things where it's like sounds weird enough to be real,
Yeah.
but also like I don't know enough about ducks.
Yeah. I have a lot to learn about ducks, I think.
Yeah.
I think this one's in the middle for me so far
Okay.
of the three.
One more. All right. This should clear all doubts.
Yeah, right.
Sport number 4, Shatni Chulnu.
Okay.
Ever heard? Okay.
Nope.
So this is
I
an
don't think I can even say it.
this is an extreme version of hopscotch, I would say. Very popular in Mongolia during 600 to 700 AD when Mongolia was ruled by the Khanids, which is basically like a tribal confederation. 500 years later, Genghis Khan takes
Right,
over,
right,
right?
right.
And then he
Mhm.
unites all of them. So this is just,
One group
yeah,
in that region.
right.
Mhm.
Game is super simple because when you're a nomadic tribe, construction isn't your thing,
Right. Yeah.
but building bridges is.
Right. Mhm.
And in this game, basically you had to test the strength of like how well they've been building
Okay.
these bridges.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
They'd build these bridges like over rivers or like valleys. And these panels, some of them would be fragile. And the
Mhm.
idea is to cross.
Yeah.
Right. You have to move quickly.
Yeah.
You have to be able to make quick bridges
Mhm.
and test them. And I guess you make a game of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, we don't want to carry all the weak people. So this was of like letting go, like you fall down
Oh, God.
and then you left behind. So the idea was there.
I guess it's awfully dark. Like, well, just build a better bridge.
Yeah. But who's going to agree to play a sport where you have to run across a bridge that might break?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So like it have to be situations like we know happened in the real world where certain kinds of people are made to play these in
Mhm.
order to test them. This to me though, this is a video game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? Like
That sounds like
or like in Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. Yeah.
Where
Where
he
you
has
have to step
spell
on the
right
letters
wo-
to spell the right thing.
Yeah, yeah. Like it makes complete sense in the idea that like this group would need to build bridges. They would come up with a way of testing them.
Sure.
So like criminals or something, that makes complete sense that you would test them using people who you don't value very much.
Yeah, right. The
But,
expendables.
Why would they build a bad bridge though?
Well, they wanted to be the strongest that it could be, right?
Yeah.
So like what are these guys like jumping on
So I
each?
guess maybe no one loses sometimes.
I don't know. It sounds a little too imaginatively dark.
Yeah,
Not like real world dark.
right. Because if I was in a group that was trying to like move across the land and build bridges and stuff, I would think that I would value the people in my tribe more than I would want to get rid of them, See, that's where it sounds like a little too far for me.
Yeah, because this is a video game. Okay, well, can you repeat the four of them for us before we guess which one is stranger than fiction and is actually real?
Okay. Sport number 1, Buskashi. Sport number 2, Anubismas. Sport number 3, Duck Fight. And sport number 4, Shatni Chulnu.
All right.
Wow.
Ooh.
Okay, which one do you think is the actually real one? Because they've all been presented to us as if they're real.
Right.
But only one of them is actually real.
Right. It's between the duck one and the first one, the horse one.
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing it's the first one.
Okay.
Based on that principle of it's the simplest game.
It's the simplest. It makes the most sense to me, like how a game comes up. I could see people riding horses and throwing around dead animals, and then it's tradition. You still do it.
It's a ball,
Yeah.
essentially.
Right.
Like it just is kind of like it's a more gruesome sounding ball.
Right.
So to me, like that seems okay.
Yeah.
Like it's keep away on horses, but the
Right.
ball just happens to be a carcass.
Right.
I don't know. Like, okay.
Yeah, that's not so crazy when you kind of remove the bloody part.
Yeah, it's on the list because it's gruesome and bloody, but like also like they're athletes.
Yeah, they train.
It's not a punishment kind of sport like the lions in Rome or whatever.
Yeah.
So that to me makes it sound more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the ducks, I also agree. That sounds possible because humans make animals fight each other.
Yeah.
I've never heard of ducks.
Yeah.
The other two sound too complicated and too dark.
Right.
They sound fictional, like fictionally dark.
Yeah, I could see someone imagining these. So I'm going to go with the duck one.
Okay. Okay.
Duck
Duck
fight.
Okay, cool.
And I'm going to pick the first one, Buskashi.
Yes.
I'm going to go with
All right.
that.
Okay, cool. So let's start with the sports that you didn't pick.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had some critical comments about those sports. Let's see how.
Guess the fiction
Yes,
now.
yes.
Guess where it's from.
So sport number 4, extreme version of hopscotch, where people jumping from one bridge to another.
Right.
And if they miss it, they fall down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the game in Squid Game.
Oh, it's in
Oh.
Squid Games. I didn't
Squid
watch
Game.
that,
I
Sups.
haven't seen it.
That's
Yeah.
way too scary and dark for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was reading about the Mongolian history and then I started reading about bridges,
the bridges.
during.
Oh, okay.
So I thought, okay, let's combine these two and then, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Talk about dark
Squid Game.
sports
Yeah,
and dark
yeah.
games.
That's a good place for inspiration.
Yes.
Squid Game.
Yeah.
Great choice.
We basically could have called this episode
Squid
Squid
Games.
Games, yes.
Okay.
All right. Sport number 2, Anubismas.
Sounds like Anubis.
Right? It is. So in Egypt, the god of funeral rites, the protector of graves, and the guide to the underworld, Anubis. This is inspired from ancient Egyptian books or mythology.
Right.
I know in like the texts, like the Book of the Dead, they talk about like what happens after you die.
Yeah, correct. Okay, now we're down to 2. We'll go to sport number 3. Duck fight is from a video game.
Oh, okay.
Nothing to do with Cambodia. And the blood part is actually true for cockfight in Bali.
Yeah.
The Balinese Hindus, they
Oh,
do it.
yeah.
But there is a video game where the ducklings are fighting against each other.
Really?
Yes. And I just basically took that video game. They're just like
Just
fight.
duck fight video game.
Yeah, duck game. That's
Okay.
it.
That's amazing.
I mean,
I had no
Right.
idea.
it's like Mortal Kombat, but with ducks.
Wow.
So we had a TV show.
Yeah.
We had books
Yeah.
and
Video
video
game.
game.
Yeah.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like the different sources.
So which means
that
sport
means-
number 1 is absolutely true. This is the national sport of Afghanistan. Even played today. And
Wow.
actually, if you watch the movie Rambo 3, you will see Sylvester Stallone also on a horseback.
Stop
No
fighting
way.
for a
Yeah.
goat carcass.
Yes, this
Seriously?
Buzkashi has been shown in quite a few Hollywood, Bollywood movies. So it's
Okay.
like,
I mean,
have to be on a
that
horse.
set of skills, can you
Yeah.
imagine? Like, you have to be
Yeah.
super good at riding a horse
Yeah.
to the point where you don't use your hands
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
ride the horse.
Right.
Which is
you're
super
carrying
impressive.
the carcass.
Yeah. You know how strong you'd have to be to hold that in one hand?
While fighting off other people.
Yeah. Oh, man, that sounds brutal.
Gruesome. It's bloody. I should have known.
I should have known. Thanks for listening to this episode of I Should Have Known. We'll be continuing our Stranger Than Fiction themed month for Halloween next week. Your quizmaster will be Tanner, and he will do an episode on true crime podcasts. So kind of meta, I guess. So be on the lookout for that. And as always, thanks for listening. I'm going to pick the ducks.
Yeah.